Thanks for checking out This Just In, the podcast that sounds like a news show, but it is not at all. It's really just me sitting and talking with people that I think are interesting for any reason that I feel like, because it's what I want to do. My guest this week is the really talented Sam Johnson, a San Francisco based musician who makes music that is, as we talk about in the show, very California influenced, very. Um, he didn't say different, but I'll go ahead and say it, he has a different sound, and I mean that in the best way possible. I think that his music is awesome. I think that you should check it out. I listed my favorites in the episode, but I'll list them right here as well, so that when you look them up, you can take a listen. Future Me, Fuego, If I Can't Help Myself, Monsters on TV, can only that one right there can only be listened to on YouTube because it was taken down off of Spotify and Facebook, and we talk a little bit about that in the show as well. So definitely check those out, as well as I forgot one additional song, "If the World Was Ending," which is actually a cover, and we talk about the difficulties in making a cover song, and why make a cover song. I think that his rendition of "If the World Was Ending" is fantastic. It is the perfect song for throwing in the background while I get to work. I really, really enjoy his rendition of it. So enjoy the podcast. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Before we get there, we'll do some housekeeping. And maybe I should do this before I do the description of the episode with, the little introduction. Maybe I should do these plugs first. But Apple Podcasts, if you are listening on an iPhone, an iPad, an iMac, a Mac, MacBook Pro, anything Apple related, and you listen to Apple Podcasts, make sure that you go ahead and leave a a rating on that page for me. That came out really weird, but ratings are a huge piece that really gets me blasted out to other regions, and people can find the podcast naturally. So, in order for me to get this show where I want it to be one day, I need you guys to leave a review. I appreciate it ahead of time, so thank you. The show is also available on Spotify if you're not listening on Apple Podcasts. It is also available wherever any other or whatever other podcast platforms you so choose. If you have a podcast platform and you do not see This Just In with this guy on there, let me know and I will reach out and I will get it on that platform. And very last piece, we are also on YouTube. So if you want to see the video of each show, I try to put up a video. Right now, it's all Zoom videos. In the future, definitely will be more in-person stuff. You'll be able to kind of feel like you're hanging out with me and whoever I'm talking with. But if you want to check that out, go to the YouTube link in description below and watch the video. Give it a like. Give us a subscribe. I don't really care if you hit the bell notification, but you can if you want. That's what all the cool kids say to do. But that's it. And now please enjoy Mr. Actually, I'm not going to say Mr. Please enjoy the powerful Sam Johnson.
Right. That's how are you is a loaded question these days.
Yeah, it's like, do I want to hear everything that's wrong in your life, or are you going to make it easy for me?
Right. Exactly. The other day we had this girl on our show, and we're not recording. Are we recording it?
Yeah, I roll it from the beginning just in case there's anything great.
Yeah, that's probably the way to be. But we had somebody on our show the other day who was like a co-host. She was helping us out, and I didn't actually know Ralph Sutton was our guest that day.
Okay.
And out of nowhere, speaking of like what's been wrong in your life, she just blurts out, "Well, I've been a mess lately since my mom just died a few weeks ago." And we were like it was out of nowhere too. So we didn't know if she was joking or if she's serious. It was crazy.
That's a tough one to like throw onto Did you at least know her?
That was my first time meeting her.
Oh man, that'd be like me, like, oh, sorry, I was late. My
Yeah,
wife just slit her wrists in the bathroom. I had to clean up all the blood.
yeah. It was
A
pretty
big
dark.
fan.
I'm not gonna, it ended up being actually a good thing because it turned out pretty much everybody in the podcast had lost somebody at some point, and a few of them had lost somebody kind of recently. So it ended up being kind of like a poignant discussion. But at first, it was just such a curveball,
Oh yeah,
you know.
that's the thing. That's the thing about doing these, especially with like in my space, my space. Now I'm just thinking
Yeah.
in being like so new at this
Mm-hmm.
and just like reaching out to complete strangers, and then you end up with a crazy, and you're like, oh shit.
What do we do now?
But I feel like that's how people think that I'm gonna be, and so like I try to overcompensate. Like
Huh?
the weirdest thing about me, at least like that you can tell from a recording and from watching this and doing a Zoom call, is that it looks like I murdered a 5-year-old and took over his bedroom.
You're just
I got
hanging.
I got
He's
like
got.
elephants on the wall.
Well, I have kind of a similar situation. I'm staying with my family since COVID happened, so I'm in this room that's painted just like baby blue, like baby Tiffany blue dresser, Tiffany blue accent wall.
There
Not
you go.
exactly my first choice of decor, but
Yeah. I've literally lived in this house for 5 years. Me and my wife, we don't have kids, and we just kind of like left the elephants.
oh, okay.
Don't get me wrong. I
So
get how weird that is.
those are the last family's elephants.
Yeah. Yeah. They got divorced, so the elephants didn't do too well for
Oh man, that's a common problem in America today.
Elephants driving families apart. That actually
That
is technically true.
that might be it.
Well, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, Sam Johnson, you are a musician based out of San Francisco, correct?
Yeah, San Francisco by way of Los Angeles. So I was born and raised in Los Angeles, and then moved up to the Bay in like
Okay.
2005.
Okay. So, a decent amount of time. You're up there for about 15 years.
Yep.
We'll ask the obvious question: which do you like better?
Well, okay, so that's a tough call. I mean, I always wanted to live in San Francisco since I was a little kid. I've got generations of family from up here, and so I've been coming since I was little, and always wanted to live here. So I was really grateful to actually live in the city and get to experience that as an adult. But these days, San Francisco is not what it was. It's a ghost town, really. And there's a lot of things to love about Los Angeles and Orange County. I went to high school in Huntington Beach, so I love the beach culture. I love the SoCal culture, and I could definitely see myself moving back. So it's a tough call. They both have their things to love.
I get it. I've lived in both. Well, not technically. I lived in the East Bay, so definitely not San Francisco. But I did a lot of time in San Francisco, and I actually got engaged in San Francisco.
Oh, right on. Where
there
at?
The Palace of Fine Arts. Went super
cool,
cliche with it.
Very cool.
It was terrifying because me and my wife were the only people there that looked like we spoke English, and I was like, "Who the hell am I going to get to take this photo for?"
Yeah, to get so you're like, you had it all planned to find a tourist that would do the video for you.
Yeah, so luckily there's these two lost-looking white people, and I was like, these are my people. These people will do it.
I'll tell you a funny story about the Palace of Fine Arts that's also kind of dark. So my grandma passed away like 5 years ago ish, and because our family was separated all across the country, they said, we're going to send you ashes, and then and then you film yourself scattering ashes, and then we're going to cut it all together into one video. Now, my nana would have hated this idea. She would have not wanted a virtual funeral. And so a few of us were kind of against it. So we just begrudgingly did it. They sent me an envelope in the mail. It had a Ziploc baggie in the envelope. In the Ziploc baggie was some white powdery stuff that turned out to be ashes. It was a very weird way to send somebody's body. So that afternoon, my girlfriend at the time and I went down to the Palace of Fine Arts. It was blowing wind at like 20 miles an hour. It was drizzling. It was just kind of a shitty day. So we've got the ashes, and we've got 2 balloons that they want us to release. These balloons, one to symbolize my grandmother, and then one to symbolize my mom, who died kind of a long time ago in '99. So release the balloons together and spread the ashes. So we're going to film. I take the ashes. I dump them into the pond that's right there, and immediately all the ducks come up and start trying to eat the ashes. So the video is just me like shooing ducks away from them trying to eat the ashes. And then I go, okay, well, that was kind of a disaster. I'll release the balloons. I release the balloons, and they blow 25 miles an hour straight into a tree and get stuck.
Oh my God.
that was my portion of my dear grandmother's funeral.
I'm so glad that my introduction to you was from watching you on the SDR show, because I know that you're not going to get upset by my laughing, because
Yeah,
that's absolutely hilarious. And with with like a regular person, like that's something that like they're over there crying about, and you're just over here.
Yeah, it was too much. Also, and my grandma would have had a sense of humor about it. I think she probably would have not liked the whole virtual funeral anyways. So.
And that was due to COVID, correct? The reason that you had to do it?
No, this was a long time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. This was a long time ago. This was like 5 years ago or something.
Oh, so you guys were trailblazing at that point.
That was that was just my Palace of Fine Arts story that I have.
Hey, you know what? I laughed, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So you are a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. Like, how did that like come to be? Let's go ahead and start like in the early stages.
Okay. So from the get-go, what really happened was, as I mentioned before, my mom died when I was young. So I was about 12 years old. And then I moved into my dad's house, and my dad homeschooled me. My stepmom actually homeschooled me, and I hated it. I was in a new city. I didn't have any friends. My mom just died. I was like, all kinds of messed up. So I decided I was going to run away. So one day I did. I got on my bicycle and rode as far as I could, only to be picked up like 24 hours later and brought back. But then they were like, well, we're not going to homeschool you anymore because you're a pain in the ass, and we can't let you go outside. So until we can figure out what to do with you, just basically stay in your room. So for about 3 months of my 7th grade year, I read the Harry Potter books that were available at the time. I think there were 2 or 3. I listened to all the CDs I had, and I played guitar, and that's all I would do. And I just reread the Harry Potter books, play guitar, and re-listen to these albums for about 3 months straight. And I started writing, and I started getting better and better. And guitar kind of and songwriting from there ended up carrying all the way through high school. And it's just what I did. I started a band in high school. That was like the first thing that ever kind of gave me any sort of positivity in like something that I had done before. Like it was the first time I had a positive reaction on anything.
The first time that you made something that people like gave you positive like feedback on.
Right. And in high school, like, we weren't good really. Although our drummer was really good, but we weren't that good. But because there's not that many people doing it, everybody still thinks it's cool. So it was just an amazing time where, we used to roll around in this VW bus. We're this little California reggae band. So we're just like smoking this bus out the whole time. And it was a dream come true. And I wanted to do it forever and ever. But after high school, I got kicked out of the house. And then I was like, dead end jobs and floating around and getting fired and couldn't figure it out. And eventually I moved up to the Bay to live with my aunt and uncle. And my uncle was like, dude, you got to get your shit together. What are you doing? What do you want to do? I was like, I want to be a musician. And he's like, well, you got to play every day. How are you going to do that? So we landed on the idea of street performing. So soon thereafter, I started busking in Fisherman's Wharf. And the first day I played, I made like $60. And the next time I made like $80. And then before too long, I was making like $100 every time I'd play. And then a couple years in, I'm making $200 every time I play. And then out of nowhere, I started breaking like $400, in 3 hours. I would,
oh wow,
just like really kind of making money, especially for myself at that time. I never made that much money before ever. And I was making fans and selling CDs. And then that kind of turned into people asking me to play gigs. And then I discovered that gigs are guaranteed money, where street performing is just tips and stuff. Also, you can't street perform if it's raining. You have to deal with homeless people and seagulls and, unruly crowds. Like I have all kinds of stories from street performing. And yeah, so I just started taking the indoor gigs and then upgrading those to better gigs and putting music out. And it just kind of, whatever I could identify as like the next thing to do
There
was
you
what
go.
I would do. But I did spend a large chunk street, like several years playing in the street.
So what years were you doing the street performing thing at?
Sorry, somebody just called. I don't know if that cut the recording out.
Just cut the video out for a second.
So I started I think in 2010 because the Giants had just won the first World Series, and yeah, I think I did it full time from like 2010 to 2013, and then I did it part time and then part time gigs, and then kind of just fully transferred out.
And so you've kind of come into your own in the time of like digital presence and whatnot. So like, how has that been? Because that wasn't really a thing 10 years ago. With anybody can get music onto Spotify. Anybody can get music onto what's the other one that
SoundCloud.
Yeah, everybody can have a SoundCloud account. Mm-hmm. And so how have you found that has been a good thing for you in your music career, or has that been kind of like a hindrance because there's so much out there?
Well, I don't know actually, because I never lived in the time before this, really. I mean, ever since I've been serious about making music, there was at least MySpace. Mm-hmm. So people were still hustling MySpace, trying to bring their friend numbers up and putting the music out. And,
man, when I was in a full circle onto MySpace. Holy shit. I didn't think that was going to happen.
We did. Yeah. So it's always been kind of like that. I've never really considered myself very good at social media. I think I'm okay at it. I enjoy it for like the regular reasons that everybody enjoys it, keeping up with people, looking at pretty girls, whatever you're checking out on your Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sam follows a lot of big booty hoes on Instagram. I can verify.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
I'm just
listening. I mean, it is cool to be able to just put music out as much as you want, but you're right. There are way more famous people than there used to be. It's just a way bigger pond.
And what I've kind of found out is that it's about like getting that like hardcore base. Like I see these people that are successful, like in music, podcasting, things like that. And they have like 1,000 people that are just fucking diehard.
Yeah.
You don't mind if I curse, right? You were on the SDR show. What the fuck am I talking about?
No. Yeah. You go for it. Fuck.
fuck. We'll get all the explicits on here. Man, I went onto a tangent and I don't even remember what I was saying anymore.
Oh shit. I had you.
We'll just step back and go back to social media. Right. It's such a weird tool. Because I do kind of look at it more as a tool these days than I have like in the past. Mm-hmm. Starting up a podcast and everything like that, and like the ability to get strangers' eyes is so difficult. But like from afar, it seems like it would be so easy, but it's not, and it's very frustrating. Do you ever have that frustration of like trying to get like new people interested, like on the like? You're like, if I use this hashtag with this video that I just made for this awesome song, this will happen with it. And then it doesn't happen. You're like, shit.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I put a song out remember the Monsters on TV song?
Yeah.
That I was promoting on the SDR show. So we put that song out. We did a whole music video for it and everything. So it ended up costing me a good chunk of change. And obviously, like, I'm a musician who's not gigging right now. So to be still putting money into my music is actually kind of insane. Yeah. But because you're not really making money on streams and shit. Mm-hmm. Not really.
Like even the big timers aren't making a lot of money off of streaming. Like it's really hard when you're that struggling young, like
unless it's millions and millions, it's not a lot of money. Yeah. And then when you go back to like who has the rights to your music, who has the rights, who's your label, who's your whatever, how much are you really getting off that? Probably not a lot. So yeah, the song Monsters on TV, did a video for it. It was a bit politically charged because it was right during the elections. And we put it up, and it ended up getting flagged on every social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Everybody flagged it for political advertising. Now this song could not be more middle of the road. It didn't have an opinion. Like
I literally
it
I was
just
listening to it
like,
right before this. I was watching the video and I was like, oh wow, this is really creative. And to the fact that, oh man, that just gets me onto another thing. It's just social media, like the overstepping of bounds and whatnot is
yeah,
insane.
I was so pissed. I mean, like the amount of time we spent on that and the money. Um, so that was like a pretty big loss. And I completely agree. It's just this weird censorship thing that I happen to get caught up in. I don't know why.
That's so crazy because obviously there was like political tones to it, because I mean there's one spot in the video where you are debating yourself and you
Right.
one wearing the red tie, one wearing the blue tie, and one is
Right.
clearly Trump and one is clearly Biden.
Right. I mean, but is that not okay? Like, are you not allowed to do that?
I mean, you're asking the wrong guy. Like I listen to Legion of Skanks. I think that everything's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, like,
You know what the problem with those guys is I'm the same way as you. Like, I listen to that and everything is, funny to me. And sometimes I'm like, dude, these guys have huge balls. I can't believe they just said that. They're crazy. But at the same time, I still find most of it funny. But then if you take your sense of humor and bring it out into the regular world, you can get in trouble.
oh, 100%. Like it's
So I've totally gotten in trouble for stuff because the people that I listen to are crazy. I listen to all these podcasters that are, talking about whatever they want and taking these chances and swearing a lot. And then I go out into the regular world and now my behavior is similar and everybody's like, what is wrong with you? So
yeah. It's tough, especially like, using those guys as that litmus test. Like it's difficult. Like it's one of those things where like I can't even really listen to Legion of Skanks around like people that I don't know
of
that
course
well.
not. Yeah.
Like, because as soon as they hear like a minute of that show, they're like, oh man, this guy is a racist.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I'm not racist. I just laugh at the racist things that they say. That's not
right. It's so touchy, man. I don't even I'm scared to get into it.
Well, we can go ahead and move.
But like, but for instance, like, you know how you take on other people's mannerisms if you've been hanging out with them for a long time.
Oh yeah, like how fucking Dave Smith always sounds like this.
That's a pretty good Dave Smith. Yeah. So I started as a major Carolla fan.
Okay.
So I was a big Adam Carolla fan, and then after listening to his show for like 4 years, I discovered, how he complains about things a lot. Like it's his shtick, really. What can't Adam complain about is one of his things. So I started complaining all the time because I'm kind of like that. I'm a little bit cynical and stuff sometimes, and I noticed that people in my life were thinking I was kind of a downer and like I was kind of grouchy, and I was feeling kind of grouchy. So I actually had to stop listening to Carolla because I was becoming more like crotchety.
You're like, I'm 25 and I'm pissed off all the time.
Exactly. And that's exactly how it was.
Quit waiting for left arrows.
Exactly.
Exactly. I give him shit on that one, but that's one that I honestly did adopt, and my wife hates that I do it every single time. Man. If I see somebody stopped at a freaking red left arrow and there's nobody coming, I will roll down my window and I will mock them.
Really?
I give zero fucks. I'm like, go.
Well,
go.
I'll pull it off if I'm in a hurry occasionally, but I don't do it every time for sure.
There was one night that it was me, my wife, and then a couple friend of ours, that a husband and a wife, and like I just go and I turn on a left arrow, and like these people lost their mind. Like it was like I literally like crossed 8 lanes of traffic with playing fucking Frogger.
Right.
And
right.
I'm
You're like, are you
it's
not paying
fine.
attention?
I was like, I'm pretty sure it's even legal to do that. And then turns out it's definitely not legal.
No.
But I was so sure of it. I think I would have gotten away with it if a cop pulled me over, just like how sure I was of it.
One show I bring up constantly these days is the Trailer Park Boys. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I watched it one time when I was like super drunk and I never went back to it.
Like it's one of those
Dude,
things that everybody says that it's great, and I'm sure it is. I just need to get back to it.
you gotta at least watch like the first 2 episodes. You got to get to know the characters.
Yeah.
And they started it so long ago, so it really evolves over time. But that sounds like something Ricky, one of the main characters, would totally do. I'm pretty sure you can turn left on a red arrow if there's cops around. It's legal.
They're watching it, and it's like supervised driving.
Something like that.
So I guess I'm going to kind of put you on the spot a little bit here and ask if the reason that I can't find your song anywhere, "The Government Is My Daddy," is that because of the social media troubles that you were talking about earlier?
Well, that would be the reason you can't find Monsters on TV, because Monsters on TV got pulled off of Spotify as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cause I was just on Spotify and I was listening to some stuff and I had to go to your YouTube channel. That checks out. Wow.
So got pulled off. So I think that it's still available on Apple and Amazon and maybe SoundCloud or something.
And if you're
it's on YouTube.
If you have YouTube Music, I watch a lot of podcasts. I work from my house. I got a TV right over here. I got podcasts on all day. I can't deal with commercials. So I definitely pay for YouTube Premium so that I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and then there's the music videos up there too. So
yeah, and whether they think it was or not, I think it was a great music video. And,
thank you, man.
Maybe if anybody can get Parler some fucking web hosting, maybe you can put it up on Parler.
I have no idea what's going on with that. I don't even really know too much about Parler. Well, you were asking about Government Daddy, right?
Yeah. The Government Is My Daddy. So, I mean, I don't even have to ask how that song came to be because it's pretty blatant,
pretty explanatory. Yeah.
But I was trying to find it earlier today and I couldn't seem to find it. Was there any kind of reason for that?
It was never released. I only did the short little video of it and put it up on my Instagram and TikTok. And the funny thing about that was, so it was me playing a guitar and I have American flag behind me. And all I got phone calls about it. I got messages about it. People really liked it in a way that I got a response that I don't get from other songs that get way more visibility. And so this struck me as interesting because it wasn't being served on social media. So it was just really not doing numbers at all. Yeah. So they decide what's relevant, what's important. If I post a really good photograph with no caption and put it up, or like a thoughtful caption, that's going to do better than a flyer to a show that I'm trying to promote, because they decide what's important for people to see. And apparently they decided this was not important for people to see, even though the interaction that I was getting was astronomical compared to the relatively compared to the numbers I usually get. So I think there's just so much fuckery going on. It's not even, even.
I thought it was funny, man. I thought it was great. And I think that what Big J said about throwing in a line about the OnlyFans, your girlfriend doing an OnlyFans afterwards, I think that would have been really funny. It's so frustrating that like creatives like you, I don't put myself in the creative like bucket because I literally do this and then I take the full conversation. I don't edit shit down because I'm lazy, and it's usually an hour and a half of stuff. So I don't consider myself an artist. So I'm not trying to say that I'm in the same boat as you, but just people like you having to like walk on eggshells over complete bullshit. Like Monsters on TV is like, I'm physically angry right now about that song because it's a great song.
Thanks, man. I was considering trying to sue them, and I was looking into it, and I just couldn't really figure out how that, like as a publicity stunt or something.
Man, sues.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what you need to do? You need to do like the song Spotify deemed too edgy or something like that. Like do an entire marketing push around that. So that's my background. I'm in cannabis marketing, so I kind of always have that kind of going in the back of my brain.
Oh, excellent. That's a great spin, actually. I like that. I tried to push that, but here's the thing is once you start saying banned by all social media, or this song was taken down by so-and-so or whatever, those are the trigger words they're looking for. And they're going to see those words pop up and they're going to be like, nice try, buddy. Can't do it. Like, where are you supposed to complain about Facebook on Facebook? They're going to keep it from being seen, really.
Yeah, man, it's so
Yeah,
messed up, man.
it's so messed up.
It's got me all
I
bummed
was
out.
listening. Joe Rogan was talking about what was that comedian's name from a long time ago? Long time ago. God, I can't remember. But his character,
Lenny Bruce.
Lenny Bruce, dude, you did it. Ding, ding,
okay.
ding.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so Lenny Bruce used to get arrested, right, for stuff he would say on stage. So that's the actual government coming in and arresting you for something you've said that's indecent. So I'm wondering, were people up in arms about the First Amendment then? Because that's even like way crazier. The police would walk into a club, pull you off stage, throw you in jail overnight.
I don't know. I think it's kind of a perpendicular line to like what you were talking about, where that was never something that they really dealt with prior. I mean, the only thing that people got arrested for, when it was nothing, was usually for being black. I'm just stating a fact, like that happened a lot.
Sure.
And so just like how you were saying that you didn't know what it was like before the social media age of being an artist, I think that people didn't understand, like, the First Amendment was written back in 1776, but I mean, Lenny Bruce was back in was it the 60s or 70s? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Something like that.
And that 200-year span that it took for people to like realize, hey, this is mentioned, this is our right, this is what we have earned this by being a part of this country, this is something that we have. It's really a terrifying thing that privately owned or publicly owned companies are now like coming after it at that same.
It's just the new way. It's just the new way to do it. It's like the new legal way to silence somebody, which I think, you got to look at comedians, a lot of them as philosophers in a kind of way. They get special license to explore ideas out loud that other normal people can't really get away with exploring or saying.
They used to.
And they still do more than your average Joe.
Yeah, it's definitely not like the bleakest of times, but I'm an open mic stand-up comic. So,
are you?
Yeah, I emphasize the open mic part. I do open mics, and
that sounds terrifying.
Well, you're a musician. Like it's the same thing, only I'm not good at what I do, and you're fucking amazing.
Thanks, man. Well, I don't know. I gotta give props to people that do comedy or try comedy, because that to me seems like the ultimate. That's like free climbing a rock instead of without the rope. Because the song, I've got a guitar, I know the songs, it's memorized, I can just sing it.
Yeah.
If I blow it, it's my fault. With the comedy, it's not exactly just dead memorized. I think
I like to compare it, instead of saying rock climbing with no rope, it's skydiving without a parachute, and you have to like find the parachute while you're falling. That's that before anybody comes up, like most people, which I don't get this psychology, because this is psychology that I see, is like a lot of people, when they are at a comedy club, like they don't want to laugh at first. And I don't understand that psychology of why you would be there.
Actually, yeah, I don't understand why you would go to the club and then be that way. But when I was street performing, it was a lot like that. People would look at you like, who is this guy? Like, what is he about to do? They're just ready to not like it. That's how they come in. We're ready to not like it. You're guilty until proven innocent, essentially.
I've always kind of been the exact opposite. Like if I see a street performer, like I'm always there. I'm like, all right, I'm going to invest 30 seconds, to a minute. And I want to see what you got. Like I'm like hoping that I can like dig through my wallet and find my actual bills.
And then there's people like you, so there's definitely the other side.
Like when I go to open mics, I get there at the beginning and I watch everything, and I'll stay till the end. Like I don't do my set and get out. This is obviously talking about, prior to COVID, because I haven't done a mic since, it's been a long time. Woo. But, I'm a fan of people with talent in general, and whether it's comedy, it's music, like I just want people to do good, which is weird.
That's cool. That's actually a great attitude.
I am a bit of a curmudgeon, like because of the people that I listen to and things like that. And so like,
Sure.
I have these like battling personal tendencies.
It's like I'm this really loving person, but I'm also cynical and kind of dark.
Yeah, it's because I got to keep this like rough exterior. I'm a big dude. I got a big beard. I keep that.
I know what you're talking about.
That facade going as long as possible.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, we have to kind of do that. Maybe you don't have to, but everybody chooses their way of getting through the world, and being big and tough is definitely one way to get through the world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But you can also be big, tough, and loving. I'm sure Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's probably a hell of a guy, but rip your head off. Something like that. Yeah. So just doing what you got to do.
Yeah.
That what you said about wanting to see people do well and kind of supporting them is an interesting point to me for a few reasons. One is because musicians, I've noticed, are more competitive, it seems, than comics seem to be. Like the comic community is a lot more close knit. They're friends with each other. They co-promote each other on their podcasts. They do all these things. Meanwhile, the music community, it's like, if we're on the same bill, I am going to try to blow you off the stage. And you're going to do the same thing to me. And I've had this a million times where you show up to a gig and the other band is, being distant, not super cool. Hey, we're fucking hot shit, that kind of attitude. And it probably exists in comedy as well, but I think it's less so. So I've got this new podcast with Chris Loxamana from the Adam Carolla Show. Chris is the executive producer of Adam Carolla and has been for the last 7 years, I believe.
And link will be down below for all you people listening.
Right on. Yeah. So you can follow us now at that'sfreshshow.com would be the website. And then all the social media handles are at that'sfreshshow. We don't have a website yet. We just have the domain. Anyway, so in order to bring people together, to make the music community especially a little bit smaller, a little bit more open, and just bring people together. So that's the idea. We will have comics. We have, speaking of OnlyFans, we have an OnlyFans star on next week. There's a documentary on Hulu called OnlyFans. So I was really interested in one of the girls on there. She's a race car driver and a mechanic and an OnlyFans star. Wow. Badass, right? What a badass.
Yeah.
So her name's Kristen Vaughn, and she's on next Saturday. So we do all kinds of whoever we think is interesting and cool, whatever we think's fresh.
Yeah, that's really what I do here. Like I see somebody that's cool, and I'm like, I'm gonna reach out to that person, and I'm gonna hit them up a million times until they tell me to fuck off or fuck it, I'll do it. And so I've gotten lucky with my first few weeks back. I mean, I was telling you, I interviewed a male porn star. Like,
oh, that's crazy.
The guy's won like the AVN awards and everything. Like,
oh wow,
he's like in the system. And I was able to talk with him. I'm going to be talking with his girlfriend, who's also in the industry pretty soon. It's like everybody's got something cool to say. Like, really, like everybody. I mean, there's probably a few
that would be duds for a podcast.
Are just duds, but for the most part, everybody's got something to say. Everybody's got a story to tell, and
you're right.
That's what I like to get at. So
I think you're right. Yeah, you don't necessarily need the most famous person in the world. You just need somebody cool.
Yeah,
and interesting.
A person that can just carry a conversation. It can go like I'm telling you, like with this guy that the porn star last week. The conversation hit everything from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the theory of inevitabilities to quantum physics. Like, this thing jumped all over the place. I mean, all from a guy who fucks on camera.
That's not what you'd expect.
No, it's not what you expect at all. And like that's the norm. That's the funny thing about it, is like that is the norm in the world, is that this, the girl who is a mechanic and race car what you said, race car mechanic and driver. Also,
she's yeah.
And so, that girl like has a story unlike anybody else's. Period.
Right.
Like, nobody else has that story. Like,
right. I mean, the whole reason she's doing it is because racing is so expensive. She needs to make the money to compete.
I don't know what hobby has a higher fucking cost of entry than racing.
You kind of have to be born into it.
Yeah, yeah. I have a friend who every summer, every weekend is taken up because he's going racing somewhere, and it is that case. His family was into it, his father before his, so on and so forth, and same thing for actually.
So what do you do?
You race.
What do you do if you're starting at ground zero and you want to get in there and you don't have like the family or parents that are going to pay for it or show you where to go or teach you what to do?
Yeah.
How do you get there?
Show that's one skin. Way. Show a little skin, man. I don't even say that.
It's up. No, me neither. I think it's up to, whatever you feel okay with.
Yeah, for sure. So, man, we've gone all over the place already. I'm loving it.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and take a.
I've got a thing at 5, by the way.
Okay. So we'll get things going a little faster, and we'll probably have you back in a couple months or so just to touch on stuff that we don't hit. But let's go ahead and talk about influences. Okay. Before we talk about influences, I want to know how you would describe your sound, because I've been trying to think of how to describe it to people, and because it really is different than anything that I listen to. I don't listen to like the top 40 type stuff, so maybe it is more like some of that stuff. But how would you describe it?
Well, I work with different producers, so depending on who I work with, it's going to, at the end of the day, sound different. But when I write, a lot of the times I just write on an acoustic guitar in my room and then bring that song to the studio and figure it out, flesh it out. Mm-hmm. But I call it the California sound. So, that's what I've been calling it. I'm from Southern California, where reggae is very popular. Sublime was a huge band. Bob Marley was huge. No Doubt was really big. All these kinds of reggae bands. And so that was, and then I listened to a lot of classic rock and hip hop at the time too. But reggae was really where it was at when I was in high school. And after about high school, I started realizing, okay, I'm going to need to branch out a bit in my guitar playing and stuff like that, just to, learn more. So it's become some sort of alternative singer-songwriter style, but everything that I write, I could play it as a reggae song. It's like derived from
Okay,
reggae.
That's actually really cool. Now I'm gonna have to go back and listen to some of the songs and play.
Monsters on TV is reggae.
100%. I can definitely hear.
Kind of.
It has that feel of the drums in the background, and I can definitely see how that's definitely a part of it. So, who would you say are your biggest influences? Top 3?
Yeah. Sublime was the humongous one. Top 3 influences. God, that's so hard. Bob Marley was really, really big. Who else was? I've been into. I get into people and then I just stay into them for a period of time. I was really into Amy Winehouse. I'm really into Sia.
Are you happy that you're already past 27 and you don't have to worry about hitting the musician's curse?
Yeah, I was just doomed to be unsuccessful. Living and unsuccessful. So God, at 3, Steely Dan was a really, really big band for me, but I don't know if I can call my influence. Tupac. God, I'm gonna have to leave that third one as a question mark.
Yeah, Bob Marley as a hodgepodge.
Yeah, Bob Marley and Brad from Sublime can have my first 2 spots.
There we go. Yeah, man. Sublime was some of the greatest chill party music ever, and nobody has really filled that void 100%. Maybe next time I do a house party, I'll just start playing your music and see if it works.
Oh yeah, try it out. Well, I think for me, he's so raw, Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't think he's a very good singer, which I find weird because I think he's a really good singer, and I think he's just super raw and soulful, and that's why I like him.
I definitely am on your side of that argument. I don't know how somebody could say doesn't have good vocals. Man.
And my buddy said that the other day. Almost hit him in the mouth.
You need new friends, bro. Come out to Colorado. We'll get you some new friends in Colorado.
I might.
So I want to talk to you about a couple of my favorites of yours, and then I have a question related to them. So the favorite songs I've been listening to by you have been Future Me, Fuego, Flower Petals, great new song. Everybody
Thank
check
you.
it out.
Thank you.
If I Can't Help Myself, fucking loved that one. And then my very last one was one that was very strange for me, was If the World Was Ending. Now I know that one is a cover. And so my question derives from, what do you get more enjoyment out of? Because creating something new is amazing. Like, because you're creating something, there was nothing there and then there's something. It's like I took a plot of land and now there's a house.
Yeah.
But what you did with If the World Was Ending was, I would compare it to, you came to a house that looked okay and you made it better. And I think that anytime that any artist does a cover, like on any of the on or TV talent shows and whatnot, like you have to bring it so fucking hard. You have to make that a better song than it was before, or else why the fuck are you doing it? Because if I wanted to listen to that person do it, I could. Like I can listen to whatever I want, but I listened to your version of If the World Was Ending because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I literally threw that into repeat and I worked for 8 hours straight one day.
Oh, wow.
Like it just, I don't know what it was. Like I went back and I listened to the original. I was like, was the original this good? And it was not. I don't know. I can't put my finger on what it was.
Damn, man. That's crazy. Well, I mean, to answer your question, and thank you very much. So I do know a lot of cover songs, and I ended up learning. I never wanted to be a cover song guy. Like I always wanted to just do originals. And when I was street performing, I was playing 95% original music. But when I started doing gigs that are paid, you kind of have to play ball. So if somebody says, half covers, half originals, you go, all right. So you got to learn the songs. But, I will be put in the fucking ground before I play Hotel California verbatim. You know what I'm saying? Like, just not happening. I'd rather do something else for a living. So I am going to take the song. First of all, it's going to be a song I like, hopefully, and If the World Was Ending, when I heard it, I heard that song when it was at 30,000 plays on Spotify. I found it on some obscure little channel and I was like, oh damn, that song's hot. Mm-hmm. And that was like right before the pandemic hit. So I was getting the song covered. I got the license to do it from the Harry Fox agency. I had to call Warner Brothers. I had to call, get the rights to do this.
Oh, you're doing it all yourself too, right?
Well, at the time I was on a label, but I did it all myself though. And
you want it done right, you got to do it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't produce it myself. It's produced by my buddy Tim, and he's a legend. But yeah, so we just worked it out together and made it more my style. So, and part of the reason that I have a style is because I'm limited. Like I can't, if I wanted to cover a Mariah Carey song, I can't sing like Mariah Carey. I'd have to take the words of the music and fit them to what I can do. So it's just adapting to yourself.
It's weird that even though you're kind of downplaying it because you're saying I only have this range, I can't do everything that's over here, but like just being able to take something like, now I kind of want to hear you do Fantasy by Mariah Carey, so let's put that on the books. Tell your producer that's your next single.
I actually did try to learn a Mariah Carey and Miguel song one time. I forget what it's called. Good Lord, you're fucking beautiful. I don't know, something like that.
But no, like, yeah. So, and I actually do have an additional question about that song. Who is the girl that's singing with you? Because she is also very talented.
She's super good. Her name is Samantha Schaffner, and she goes by Sam Girl on the.
Oh, I see. I thought that whoever put it into Spotify got lazy. It was like, yeah, it's Sam Johnson and Sam's Girl.
Oh, no. She's just a Sam as well.
That's hilarious. What was her name one more time?
On Spotify, I think you can look her up as Sam Girl, and on Instagram it's XO Sam Girl.
Yeah.
And mine's at Sam Johnson Live, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure that's in the notes so everybody can follow you. Because like I said, you're a hella talented guy.
Thanks, man.
Great songs. Like the Future Me, man. That one
Oh,
just
dude, thanks.
It just hits you like because I'm a little bit into like the woo-woo sense of like visualizing your future and whatnot. And, you know,
yeah, me
it's
too.
something that my boss has kind of gotten me into more of. And, you know, just being conscious of your future self, I think is really important. And you're never going to get somewhere if you can't visualize it ahead of time.
Yeah.
And so I guess my question for you is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, you know, this is a tough time to be predicting things, to be honest. But I would like to have my music career thriving again, because I was doing just fine until the pandemic. And then I would like to make some more headway in the broadcasting space because I enjoy doing that.
It's a lot of fun, right?
I wouldn't mind settling down, perhaps. If you know what I'm talking about, find yourself a good girl and call it quits.
You hear that, ladies?
on the rest of it.
Even though I'm pretty sure everybody that listens to me is like 45 and older and female. So if you're into an older woman, I think my mom is looking right now.
Mom, dude, that'd be great. We could be related.
Instead of the government be my daddy, you would be my daddy. That's awkward. Oh man.
Yeah, so something like that.
And I had a question about your album that you put out last year. You put out the album Classics.
Mm-hmm.
Why was it called Classics?
Because the label wanted to call it Big Mouth. Because I have a tendency to pop off at the mouth sometimes when need be. So they're like, so originally the title was Big Mouth, and then I was like, yeah, great, let's keep it. And I was like, they're trying to insult you, right? And I was like, they are? So I thought that was kind of funny. And she's like, no, it's meant to be like insulting, I think. And so we decided to change it, and my email address is samjohnsоnclassics@yahoo.com. So I always wanted one called Sam Johnson Classics. I didn't have anything else. Oh, and we had some remake songs on there, like some of my old, like 10 years old songs that we just redid.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where it came from. I know, not super creative, but the record itself came out really good. Like there's a lot of, the production quality on there is really good. The label I was at has a great team and of producers, and so
I think you messed up by getting rid of Big Mouth, though. You could have done a co-promotion with Netflix.
Right. There's the Big Mouth, right, or whatever, or get sued, something like that.
Well, as long as you're not an animated child who always talks about masturbation, I think you're okay.
Well, it's actually a lot closer to that than you'd think.
You hear that, everybody? All of his songs are about masturbation. No, I'm just kidding.
Little known fact.
That you really do make really good music, and I'm legit a fan. I don't talk to people that I don't want to fucking talk to, so I'm
appreciate
really
it, dude.
You took the time to talk. Now I got another random question for you. Do you know who Colby Covington is?
The fighter.
Yeah, the UFC fighter. So your I'll go ahead and share my screen real fast because I want you to look at your picture that they have on Spotify. And it is uncanny. Can you see that? Can you see that? I mean, you're kind of covering up your face. But if we go over here,
I need to change that.
Colby Covington. Spitting image. If that guy was winking right there. Which
let me see. Can you enlarge him?
Oh yeah, let's go ahead.
Let's have a look. Yeah, he looks like you'd tear my face off.
Well, he would tear anybody's face off.
He looks like the version. Yeah, he looks like the version of me that would eat you.
Eat anybody that he wants. That's for sure.
Right.
But that's one thing I just noticed. I was like, that photo, he looks like a young Colby Covington.
Colby, I'm honored. Let that get back to him.
That'll probably keep you off Spotify even more, if you know what I mean. Now, changing the subject. Before I let you go, I kind of want to get your thought. I touched on it very briefly when we were talking about covers. What are your thoughts on like the TV talent shows, the America's Got Talent, The Voice, American Idol? How do you feel about those?
The Voice, etc. I feel like I would do it if they gave me the opportunity. Not because I would want to do it, not because I think it'd be fun. It might be fun, but I think that the exposure is really can be beneficial for a lot of these people. Like that guy Scary Pool Party. I don't know if you're aware of him. He was on The Voice, but I mean he's just an amazing artist, and it really helped to put him into the public eye and reach more people. And I think that without that, he wouldn't have the same career he has now. Now he's probably paying NBC some royalties for Forever and Ever, but that's better than what he had before, which was a lot less. So I think that they're cheesy. I think that music isn't a competition. I think that it's weird to make it a competition, but at the same time, people are enjoying it. So more power to them. And for the people that benefit from being on the show, more power to you too.
Very political answer.
Thank you.
And I'll give you some advice for it. I had a friend, amazing artist, just the voice. He did Matchbox 20's 3 a.m. unlike anybody you ever heard in your life. He even did his own stuff. Like, he was a fantastic artist. He was on the very last round of callbacks for, I think it was The Voice or America's Got Talent. I don't remember off the top of my head which one, but he got sent home because they didn't have enough of a story.
Oh, wow.
He didn't have like a sob story in the background. And so if you do any tryouts for that, I would sap that shit up.
You're correct. This is true.
Is what it is. And then lastly, when you do get on the show and you do become wildly famous, don't be Morgan Wallen and dropping N-bombs and getting canceled.
Did you know what though? His streams went up by like 300%.
Yeah. His streams and his album sales, his actual album sales went up as well.
Which I don't even know how to make sense of any of that. That's crazy. Let's not even try.
Yeah, it gets you into dicey
territory.
Positions.
Let's just say, that's interesting.
That's interesting. America.
Very weird. Yeah.
All right. Now the very last thing that
I don't recommend it as a song release strategy.
Yeah, I got this hot new song called "Get Off My Porch." Oh, what?
So boy, he said it, not me.
This show will get you canceled. I'll get you canceled faster than Legion of Skanks.
Don't do that.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No.
But just to finish up, I got a couple of rapid fire questions. So I'm going to go through them. You got a few seconds to think about each one and just let it fly. So we'll go ahead and get started with describe yourself in 3 words.
Super fucking awesome.
People usually use different adjectives for each word, but
well, people aren't super fucking awesome like me. So
there you go, brother. There you go. Are you a morning or night person?
Night person.
What's the first thing that you do in the morning?
Take a leak, make coffee, meditate, journal, pray. That's how I do it.
There you go, man. That's a good routine.
Thank you.
What's your favorite movie?
Wayne's World was the first thing to come to my head.
It's not a bad choice. They got back together for the Super Bowl. Maybe they'll come back for movie 3.
I've heard some things.
Who was your first concert?
Steely Dan was my first concert, but that was with parents. My first concert without parents was the K-Rock Weenie Roast in Anaheim.
There you go. Do you believe in aliens?
I believe in life outside of our planet.
And then
do I believe in intelligent beings?
This one I stole from the producer of SDR show or somebody over at Legion of Skanks or something. Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in something different than ghosts, like in the traditional form. I believe that like your spirit goes on to other things after, and that it's possible that you could receive some sort of like message or energy or something unexplained. But like traditional ghost, fine, I'll say maybe.
I feel it. All right. Well, that's it for the rapid fire questions. Everybody, make sure to go check out his latest song. Is it Flower Petals? I want to make sure.
Flower Petals.
Okay, Flower Petals. It's on Spotify. Yep. It's on YouTube Music. It's on any place that you listen to music. Check him out. I'm going to give you a warning though. If you're on YouTube Music, like the idiot that I am, you gotta talk to somebody over there because they have some Indian dude's music mixed in with yours.
That happens to me with all. There's a bunch of other Sam Johnsons. So this is constant. Been happening to me as long as I've been doing music.
Yeah, that's a pain.
But sorry about that, guys.
He's got great music. Like I listed my personal favorites. Check them out. Great stuff. You gave the Instagram handle. Go ahead and drop it one more time.
It's Sam Johnson Live is my personal one, and then for the podcast, it's That's Fresh Show on Instagram and everywhere, Facebook as well, everywhere else.
Perfect.
All right, on, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. We'll have to do it again in a couple months. Now we got the first time like meeting each other digitally jitters out, and then we can just have like a good old fashioned Rogan hang.
Let me know, dude.
All right, man. Well, it was a pleasure. Right, Justin. Take it easy and good luck. All right.
You too, brother. Nice to meet you.
Deuces.
Peace.
I've never said deuces in my life. Why did I do
Deuce?